Big Sales. Aftermath of the Monday night game. Just had a brief conversation with my friend Tone here. By the way, real quick, for all of you out there, all you have to do right now is join us here as we try to give you a gift certificate for our good friends at Hooters. Last week's winner, Nick from Florida, Israel from Pennsylvania. Congratulations to you guys. We're doing it again. All you have to do is identify a code word that my guy Tone will throw out throughout the entire show. Okay? You identify it. Then what you do is you send us an email with all your information. And maybe on a football Monday, we're barking your name out. There's the email, dansileo@gmail. Send them in. By the way, it's been a grand slam. All you have to do is identify that code word. And you send us that email. And gift certificates are sent out within 7 to 14 days. Very simple like that. All you have to do is send us the information, ID that code word. Real quick. 40 whiners. Like it. The New York Giants have made a $160 million mistake, but we all knew that. We all knew that. Aren't we tired of seeing guys paid too fast? You know, Philly, I said this about your guy, Jalen Hurts. Is he a one-year wonder? You know what Jalen's doing right now that Daniel Jones isn't doing? And there's two things that Hurts has going for him that Daniel Jones has. Daniel Jones has a sieve of an offensive line, and they also have a sieve of a front office. They make very little good moves when it comes to putting a football team together. Jalen has got good talent around him and good front office people around him. That's what he has. There were times in that ball game, as bad as Daniel Jones looked, you saw the fundamental flaws from the front office and the quarterback himself all in one game. All in one game. That is a $160 million disaster. And not only that, you could have picked up last year the fifth-year option, and now, whatever you do, you're married to this guy. Because you'll be in purgatory known as salary cap hell. Salary cap hell because you don't know how to formulate a contract like the Eagles do. They were not sure about the guy, so they gave him $90 million in guarantees. You gave that guy $90 million in guarantees off of 4 games. You know what Hurts also is doing that he's not? Hurts is working through his second year as a star starter. How many times have we seen super guys? Okay? How many times have we seen superstars? Look at Joe Burrow even going through. Now he's injured. I get it. He's injured, okay? He's injured. But at the end of the day here, dude, you got to work through that. Hurts is working through it. Hey, I may be critical of Jalen, but you know the one thing I'll not be critical of him for? That guy's going to work through his issues. Daniel Jones has no chance. Why would you sign Darren Waller? What in the world was that move? You know, I would have, get this, you want to hear something crazy? I would have much rather have seen the Giants go after Andre Dillard, Isaac Seumalo, DeAndre Hopkins. You're not using. And by the way, you can't build a championship football team from the outside in. You know what's great about the Eagles and how they take the Tom Coughlin mentality. You know, Tom Coughlin, do you guys know what Tom Coughlin's first draft choice was? as the head football coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do you guys know who he took number 1 overall? Who was the one guy he took? He could have had anybody in the draft. Anybody. Who did Tom Coughlin draft when he was the head football coach with the Jaguars? You guys know? That's right, Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli, because he was building his football team from the inside out. Got to have an O-line. You got to have an O-line. What were the big things that they had up in New York when he was there? Good O-lines, good D-lines. You know, quite frankly, Tom Coughlin did exactly what the Eagles are doing right now. Good D-lines with Justin Tuck and them dudes. And you turned around on the other side, you had Snead and them dudes playing in the O-line. That's how they won Super Bowls. Okay? That's how you win Super Bowls. You don't win Super Bowls going out and signing on the perimeter. Dude, Darren Waller made no sense to me. And by the way, last night, it was front and center for everybody. Now, I'm going to throw this at you here. Joseph, appreciate you coming aboard. Can I tell you, what's your biggest takeaway from last night that affects the Eagles? I just told Tone this. You tell me, what's the biggest takeaway you take away from last night? That kind of is something you have to look at if you're an Eagle fan. What do you take away? Seahawks can play? I'll tell you what, man. How about Geno Smith? That guy's turned his career around with a great coach. Okay? We played the Giants twice, which helps us. Devin, okay? I'll take that. I like that, actually. I was more impressed with Sam Howell than with Daniel Jones. Can I tell you what my big takeaway was last night from that game? You know what I have a different opinion of, maybe? The Dallas Cowboys. I'm like this. Well, Seattle put the boot to them too. I mean, the Cowboy fans are crowing over kicking the shit out of that team. Seattle beat the doorknobs off them. Right? Seattle beat the doorknobs off them last night. And you're like, yeah, that tush push or the brotherly shove, it resulted in 2 players injured and no first downs. Congratulations, Peter King. It is a football play. I say this to you here. Do you have a different opinion of Dallas coming out of that game last night? I do. 10 sacks. Okay, well, Dallas beat the doorknobs off them. Hey, and let me say this to you about Brian Dable. Is he the next Matt Nagy? Matt Nagy was the coach of the year also. Matt Nagy won the Coach of the Year award in Chicago. And he was fired 2 years later. Is he a one-year wonder? So let me get this right. We're crowning Brian Dable and Daniel Jones off of 8 games last year. Look at these guys you've paid too soon. Wentz, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones. Haven't we learned a lesson in paying these quarterbacks too soon and not letting this thing settle? You went off of 1 year and really, quite frankly, a half a year. Absolutely. Tone's right. The Coach of the Year award has to be the most overrated award in pro football history. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Ray Rhodes win that thing 2 times? And he was canned too. I think Belichick's won that thing once. I think Bill Walsh has only won that thing once. Dude, if I'm an NFL coach, I don't want to win that award. That's not really a great achievement. That puts a target on you. I look at Brian Daboll last night. I'm like, hey, man, it can't be all Daniel Jones. It's coaching and shitty front office and Daniel Jones. That was my takeaway last night. It's a collective train wreck. Since Jerry Reese and Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning left the building, okay, that thing has sucked for a decade. The New York Giants used to be one of the great, well-run organizations when Wellington Mara was there. I mean, take a look at when the kids sometimes take over. Do you know this year in Major League Baseball playoffs, there's no team from Chicago, Boston, and New York. But you got teams from Florida and Arizona in the postseason. This comes down to management, man. You have no teams from Chicago, Boston, or New York in baseball's postseason. Yankee Suns, man, they didn't do a good job with that team. Got to have good management. I mean, the Marlins and the Rays are in the playoffs, but the Yankees and the Mets, who have spent a collective $800 million in payroll, are not in the postseason. Can't throw money at championships, can you? Cowboys beat them worse than the Niners. Hey, all I'm saying to you is when I look at the Giants, I don't know. What do you take away? Is Seattle really one of the elite teams? Probably. Tell you what, man, Pete Carroll is a great coach. So look at what Bill Belichick's doing with Mac Jones. And look at what Pete Carroll's doing with a retread in Geno Smith. That's a retread. How many teams has Geno Smith been on? 5? 4? My takeaway, Daniel Jones looks Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. Dude, I would never have given that. That guy would never have gotten $40 million on the open market by any team in the league. You know what? You want to hear something crazy? I'll take Ryan Tannehill over him. Here, I'll take Kirk Cousins over him. Let's see who else. I'll take Sam Howell over him. I'll take the kid in Arizona over him. And I'm not talking Kyler Murray. I'll take the kid who's playing now over him. Man, Brian Daboll, I don't get it. The Giants panicked. Tyler Heineke could start over that guy. Dude, I'm sure. Hey, there is no question the New York Giants are panicking as an organization. Look at what Howie did and how he didn't panic. Howie didn't jump into the market right away for a linebacker, did he? He didn't jump into the market. Let's see how this thing works. Okay, give me a month of the season. Say this to you, man. When you saw some of those linebackers playing in the New England game, we were all doing this. You got to get those guys off the field. They're not good. Haven't they progressively gotten better over the last couple weeks? I don't think they're really great cover guys, but they were better last week. Okay, they were better, and they are getting better. They are getting better. Just saying, man. Howie Roseman is killing the Giants. The owner is killing. The Giants have no chance of being in line to beat the Philadelphia Eagles consistently over the next 10 years. There is not a chance. That, my friends, right there, might be the worst organization in the NFC East. Unbelievable to say. The New York Giants? The New York Giants are the worst run organization in the NFC East. Shit, you could say whatever you want about Dallas. They have won 12 games the last 2 years. Okay, I get it. They get knocked out in the playoffs. That team couldn't make the CFL playoffs. They are just a train wreck, man. A train wreck. Hey, by the way, our boy Tone's going to jump on with us at 3:30. And we are going to have Philly 500, our good friend, at 4:30. We're going to get a fan's perspective. Guy does a spectacular job. Spectacular job on his podcast, too. So he's our friend, and we look forward to having him on. Let me ask you something kind of in line here with Saquon Barkley before we move on to the topics here. How do you know Saquon Barkley's not sandbagging? How do you know that Saquon Barkley's not sandbagging? Wouldn't you? Why would I come back to that when you're going to fire me in the offseason anyway and you're going to trade me? Saquon loves DJ. Not more than a paycheck. Hey, I love you, brother, but at the end of the day, this is business. Strictly business. Don't take it personal. But I ain't going back in there when I know the Giants tried trading me to Miami, even after they gave me the small one-year extension. Why wouldn't you sandbag? You know what's crazy about the NFL owners? The NFL owners tried setting the market in value on the running back, but now you're finding out that the market value that you set for the price is undervalued. What do you think the San Francisco 49ers would be without Christian McCaffrey right now? What do you think the Tennessee Titans would be without Derrick Henry? I mean, arguably the best team in the NFL, Christian McCaffrey is the entire linchpin of that 49er team. You take him off the 49ers, I don't know. I saw last year Kyle Shanahan go to the playoffs with 3 different quarterbacks. When that guy showed up, he started winning every game he started. During the regular season, they won. So what the owners are doing is they're devaluing the running back position, but guess what's happened? The value, how about this? How important has DeAndre Swift been to the Eagle offense in the first 4 games? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think DeAndre Swift has been? 8? Get this. Last year, Miles Sanders, his importance to the offense, 6. Right? I mean, Swift's like 3rd in the league in rushing. Behind one of the best running attacks in the NFL. The owners have devalued a position by greed. Nothing more. It is such, get this, by doing what you're doing and the value of paying these guys, they're showing you if you don't have a running game in today's NFL or in 1920, you're not going to win. You are not going to win. Here's the irony. The top 3 teams that lead the league in rushing are Dolphins, Eagles, Niners. Guess what? Niners, Eagles 4-0, Dolphins 3-1. You need a running game. There's no coincidence to that. You get this, like I said, it could be 1920 or 2023. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You know, the owners think they're smarter than the game. There's a prime example of it. Well, I'm only going to pay this guy $8 million. How about the Vikings? Look at the Vikings now, and they struggle in their running game. Well, they're lost. Dude, they got a great passing game. It's the only thing keeping them afloat. Look at the Lions, how good their running game is. I mean, there's a reason you have like the best offensive line coaches in Cleveland and in Philadelphia. Sanders' contract a joke. Hey, by the way, he's down there complaining about Panther fans booing him and booing the Panthers. Son, you make $7 million. You were a one-year wonder. That's why Howie didn't sign you. Hey, I'll tell you this. Kaiser White is earning his dough in Arizona. That guy in Carolina is not. And this is what we all were saying. Was that really that bad a move by Howie to get rid of Miles? Because he hadn't put it together prior to that. Didn't he the year before that, like, have no touchdowns? 10 for Swift, Sports Radio says. Interesting. So my takeaway last night was a lot. I don't know, man. I look at Dallas different now. I look at Seattle different. Shit, I look at Pete Carroll different. And by the way, thank you on my prognosticating on Devin Witherspoon saying he's my favorite player in the draft. That guy is a mother you-know-what. Will we trade for a safety help after the Rams game this week? They love utilizing Higbee in the middle of the field. And we'll have a field day versus the backers this week. Ray, I'll tell you something too. Aaron Donald, if Cam Jurgens ain't in there, man, I'll tell you what, that's going to be quite a battle to watch this week. You know what must-see television is? It's not Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. You know what it is? It's Jason Kelce versus Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's back to playing Aaron Donald football. That dude's a force today, man. He's killing it this year. 21 for Seattle. Unbelievable. Dude, he was all – I thought I was watching Cam Chancellor running around, knocking guys out, making plays all over the place. That guy was a war machine last night. And he goes to Pete Carroll, who's now building a new Legion of Boom. Dude, that kid can play. The two dudes we liked, remember we ID'd them? Christian Gonzalez and that guy, those two dudes are forces. They are good-looking players. Now, look, I still think Jalen Carter's the best player in the draft. That kid might be second. That kid might be number 2. He is some football player, man. I was watching him last night. That dude was striking fear in every time he went up on a player. Dude, I can't believe him and Sidney Brown played in the same backfield. Those are Lovie Smith guys. Incredible, man. Here's a stat for you, Sills. Bottom 5 teams in rushing. Raiders, Bengals, Packers, Steelers, Vikings have a combined record of 7-13. You need a running game. Thank you. So if you're Saquon Barkley, man, are you really that interested in getting out there and running for the New York Giants when you know that organization's a shit show right now? Not me, man. Not me. Hey, you know what I'm doing? Hey, Minnesota, how was life without a running back? You want to pay a guy $12 million now? Yeah, I think we might. Or, I'm going to say this to you too. John Lynch making that Christian McCaffrey move may have saved his job. The McCaffrey move may have saved John Lynch's job after the Trey Lance disaster. 2 moves versus 1 bad disaster was finding Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. Okay? Those 2 guys, Christian McCaffrey is going to get 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. Was that worth a couple 2s and 3s? I think so. Okay? Okay? I mean, right? If I'm Barkley, man, I go to Minnesota. I go to a place that's got a guy. Or how about this? Houston. That kid CJ Stroud looks like a guy. Depends what they do up in Green Bay. All right, let's get to the topics here. What does Sean Desai, Sirianni, and Howie do with Nakobe Dean? And here used to be the line that used to be sung by players, coaches, and personnel directors. You can't lose your job to an injury. I think that is something in the past. I don't care any longer about owing you anything. I owe you nothing. The Eagles owe Nakobe Dean nothing. This is about the 53 and the locker room. I don't care about what your feelings are here. This is not bitty football, okay, where everyone has to play. This is about the logo. It's more important with the name that's on the marquee than the name on the back of the jersey. Nobody gives a shit. That includes people like Brandon Graham or whomever. You're not getting playing time? I don't care. Fletcher Cox doesn't start playing well? I don't care. He's playing great, by the way. This is not about a love affair. This is about winning. Okay? This is about winning. Final stats, Sills. Top 5 teams in rushing: Dolphins, Eagles, Niners, Ravens. Combined record 16-4. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do they do? This is where the Eagles have gotten in trouble before. Forcing a dude into a starting lineup like Jalen Reagor. We've seen it. We've seen the behavior organizationally of the front office. This is the shit right here that you're going to have to keep an eye on as a fan, because the MO of that front office is what? We love our draft choices. Get this. They don't really love the players. They love their draft choices because decision-making and money are involved in it. Lovecox have to sign Milton instead. Probably so. Depending on what Fletcher wants to take. Fletcher might take a pay cut. But if I were him, I'd become a mercenary like Adama Katsu did. That's what I would do. You know, go around getting as much money as you can on the way out the door. Why wouldn't you do that? It's common sense. My loyalty to Philly has nothing to do with me making money on the way out the door. Do you think that? Would you look any lesser? I wouldn't. So the guy makes $10 million versus $5 million in Philly. You expect him to stay? I would never. I would give him a parade out the door. Hey, thank you for everything, man. When you come back, I hope you retire an Eagle. Good luck in Miami. I don't care. It's more money, and I could draft a guy on a cheaper contract to play DT for me. I mean, look at what you're getting with Jalen Carter right now. Do you know why Jalen Carter is, without a doubt, a monster upgrade to Javon Hargrave? Why do you think? I got 20 million reasons to tell you. I got 20 million reasons versus 1 million to tell you why that's an upgrade. Okay? Zach and Nicholas are a good duo today. Okay? Let's see if they can keep. By the way, my opinion, sports radio on them, can they keep it going? Can they keep it going? That's going to be something to evaluate in a week. They're going to be evaluated on a week-to-week basis, Cunningham and Morrow. I don't give a shit what he did against the Minnesota or the Washington Commanders. That doesn't cement you a job. What Morrow did by getting those 3 sacks, do you know what it did for him? It kept him in the loop. Before, they were constantly trying to replace him and couldn't wait for Dean to get back. Those 3 sacks make some pause now, doesn't it? That's what keeps him on the active roster. Because everyone was waiting. Nakobe's coming back. Nakobe's coming back. All of a sudden, he gets 3 sacks. You see him running around with Zach Cunningham. Now you're doing this. I don't know. You become relevant. Okay? Way too pessimistic. Hey, Gold, they cut him already once this year. Look at Gold, what he says. Way too pessimistic? They already freaking cut him. The Eagles weren't sure about him. Way too pessimistic. So me saying I'm way too pessimistic is more of a tough take than them cutting the player. They cut him. They cut him. They gave him no signing bonus money. And you're telling me I'm being far too pessimistic. I mean, yeah, Morrow's a starter on a week-to-week basis. That's what the Washington game did for him. Okay? Nakobe Dean, in my opinion, now here, something that I never really got is that you don't really rotate linebackers. You rotate D linemen because the bigger dudes, I guess. And because you know why you don't rotate linebackers? You take why do you think you don't rotate linebackers? Jonathan Vilma told me this. Why do you think you don't rotate? You guys have an idea? I'm sure if you listen to our post-game show, you heard Seth say it a couple times. Why you don't rotate. Chemistry is something big picking. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're kind of right with the chemistry because it's kind of in what I'm saying here. Okay? Here's why. When you're the Mike linebacker, you're kind of like the quarterback and you get a feel for what the quarterback's doing audible-wise. And when the defense starts hearing a voice and they start hearing that voice and a voice that's recognizable, with all the screaming and the hollering and the shifting, it becomes something that becomes and puts your team in a relaxing position. It's a calming force to hear the same voice behind you, setting the fronts, odd even, slide, offset right, strength is left, double tight end. So why knowledge people on meds? Because they're fun. That's why. Through 3 games, Morrow has 16 tackles, 5 TFLs, 4 QB hits, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. Also, to answer your question, you never want to change the voice on the defense. That's right. Vilma told me this. After a while, you get a feel for guys like Peyton Manning. You just have a feel for him. And when you got a guy in the middle here that has that kind of presence and sense, he's looking at the clock. He knows at 5 seconds, the quarterback can't keep moving around. Vilma used to do this with Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning would look, and you know what inexperienced linebackers do? They set the defensive front too soon. And it gives them a pre-snap heads up on where to go with the ball. Brady was notorious for that. So every time, that's why I kept telling you about Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's going to set the front too soon. And when he sets the front too soon, experienced quarterbacks are going to annihilate that guy. Okay? Vilma would take it right down to the 5 second. And as soon as he said set, that's when they would shift. And it made him, in the time before they snapped the ball, have to have a pre-read that was taken off the table because it made Manning have to go to second progression. That's a game he played as the Mike linebacker and the quarterback. Inexperienced guys want to get it set soon. You know why? Because you're also having to deal with pass coverage. Remember, you got a guy in the secondary behind you. Someone's back there setting the coverages too. Usually you do that predetermined wise once you come together in the huddle. But if you see somebody and they go in motion and you slide the defensive front, you've got to be cognizant of that. So you want to do what? Let's get the defensive front set first, because the passing game, that's going to affect me having to either cover a tight end or a running back. Hut! The experienced guys know what they're doing out there. It's a chess game. You're sitting out there as a young ball player, and you're doing this, and you hear them behind. Banjo, 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 straight right, tight end, press and release, hut! I didn't set the front. When you don't have a guy at the mic doing all that, you got a problem. You got a problem. Dude, one thing, too, that is so incredible is the speed of the plays. Okay? I'm talking like how quick they come. Bang! See, we're having some internet issues here, too. Hopefully, we're going to be cool here in a sec. They just come so freaking fast. Boom! I mean, dude, I swear to you, you look up, you play 15 plays, and you're like, holy shit, I got 6 minuses. In college ball, they're kind of fast. Pro ball, they're lightning quick. And you've got to, dude, it is so much more about knowledge than talent in the NFL. It's way more about knowledge. Everyone's good. Okay? Everybody's good. That's why you rarely see rookies playing. Because you got to get a feel for the bitch. Okay? Dean is a smart football player. How the frig do you know that? Why? Because he passed economics? Stop with college. Stop with book smart. It has nothing to do with football smarts. It's like telling me that Jerry Jones, who's a great businessman, is a good football man. What does a billionaire know about moving the chains? It applies the same way. Well, the guy is an electronical engineer. I don't care. Matt Patricia can make bombs and jets. That doesn't make him a good head coach. Stop with that. You got to be kidding me. Every time I hear someone bring that up, well, the guy who's one of the smartest guys in the classroom. The football classroom? The football classroom? Or what? In an economics class? So let me get this right. So he knows how to bake a cake, and I don't. Does he know how to set a front to the strong side on a weak side tight end release? I don't give a shit how smart he is, how many degrees he has. How dumb is that comment? Well, he's really a smart guy. That doesn't mean you're a good football smarts guy. Completely different. Completely different. I'm you haven't been out there. You have no idea what you're talking about, some of you. You can say all the shit you want. No idea what you're talking about. Okay? No idea. Dean playing injured, as usual. So he's injured, and he hasn't played. And you want to replace a guy who's playing well with him. Solid move. Solid move. He's a downgrade, not an upgrade. But this is where the organization gets in the way here. If that guy starts against the Rams, you're in trouble. Matthew Stafford, it looks like he's going to play. Matthew Stafford's having a great year. He's having a great year. Him and Sean McVay are having a great year. And by the way, so is Raheem Morris. I'm going to prove that point to you here in a minute. We got our top 10 list, as we always do on a Tuesday. Hey, the Rams have been a surprise for what they don't have. I don't get it, Sills. Morrow has the momentum. Morrow has been effective. If the Eagles bench Morrow for Dean, I'll lose my you-know-what. Let me say this to you, man. Has Howie made bonehead decisions on personnel? Dude, all you need to know is Nate Sudfeld. Pulling Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld. Because they wanted to, what was that thing? I wanted to get a look at him. Really? Love and hate the show, Sills, but totally agree on this one. If the backers are playing much better than we anticipated, why go to Dean? We need wins. JH, I go here with you. I think those linebackers are on a week-to-week, though. The only thing that Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow have done for me, I think they just put Nakobe Dean on notice and the defensive coaches on notice. Nothing that he can't get his job back. I'm just going to play these guys because hey, why wouldn't you play the hot hand? Why wouldn't you play the hot hand? I'm telling you. Would it shock you that Nakobe Dean starts this week? It would not shock me. And Stafford will cut that guy up to pieces. Be a disaster. That's a hell of a passing game. Hell of a passing game. They got it going on. They got it going on. All right. Top 10 NFL teams. And again, this is a moving list. And week to week. It's a moving list. So some teams have moved up. Some teams have moved back. Okay? And I'm going to do this. The Eagles beat a top 10 team already on this list. I got to give it to the Buccaneers, man. I got to give it to the Bucs. 3-1. Baker Mayfield's doing a good job on third down. He ran into a really good foot. Hey, by the way, can I tell you that I think the Buccaneers are going to benefit having played the Eagles as hard as they did, and they were never really in the game, that's going to benefit them in the NFC South, and they're going to give New Orleans all they can take. Right now, they're the front runners, in my opinion, to win the NFC South. Way to go, Todd Bowles. Hey, remember, I told you this during Eagle Week. That's a Super Bowl championship defense. And you guys did a nice job on that defense. There's not going to be a lot of teams do what the Eagles did to that Buck defense and to Todd Bowles. Okay? So now that, hey, look, this is evaluation time. We're a month. It's 4 games. This is a month into the year. And this is what you say about the Bucs. Hey, they're good. Didn't we all? I did. I thought there was going to be a garage sale by the time we got through the first month. I thought we were going to see. Now, Mike Evans just got banged up a little bit, so we'll see how that affects the passing game. But the Bucs are good. The Eagles beat a good team. They beat a top 10 team on my list. I got Seattle 9. Dude, Seattle after the opening game, who'd they lose to in overtime? Was it an overtime game they lost in the opening week? Who'd they lose to? Was it the Rams? Did the Rams beat them in week 1? Who beat them in week 1? Okay, who'd they lose to? I sound like an owl shitting through feathers. Dude, the Rams beat that Seattle team? I'm going to tell you that Rams game is going to be a more interesting ball game than you think. Okay? 30-13. They waxed them. Okay, man. Okay. I like that coach. He's 72 years old. He runs around like he's 52. Dude, Rams, I think they're 2-2. Sean McVay's a freaking great coach, man. He is a great football coach. Rams points through 4 games, 30, 19, and 29. Averaging around what? 27? Somewhere in there, 27 a game. We're going to look at the top offenses and defenses. And MVPs also. Got to be averaging around what? 26, 27? Somewhere up there. Not bad. Not bad for not having Cooper Kupp. 24-5. Okay. I want that number up a little higher, bud. They are 2-2, man. I got the Lions at 8. Maybe too low, but I want to see them win. It's what, see, here one thing I'll say about the Eagles. Not playing their best ball, you're right. Not clicking for the entire they've had a half in a month where they've played really well offensively. A half. That's not playing well offensively. Okay? A half. And they're still winning. Okay? They're still winning. I like this Lions team, and I like Jared Goff, and I like Dan Campbell. To me, looks like a keeper. I got the Ravens at 7. I think Lamar's getting better and better. You know the number one problem that I have with Lamar that Jalen doesn't have? He's not accurate. He's just athletic. I'd rather have accurate than more athletic. When you watch Lamar Jackson play versus Jalen Hurts, it's night and day in athleticism. But he's accurate. I'll take the accuracy over the athlete any day. I would never say that Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were phenomenal athletes. I would never say that. But they were just accurate. Right? They're accurate. They're just, how about this? Is he going to make a big throw late in the game when you need it? He'll make a big run. But if you're behind, running the ball hurts you if you can't throw it. Do you understand that about having just a one-dimensional running game? Why were the Kansas City Chiefs about 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago? Do you remember when the Titans had like a 21-point lead on them? Why were they able to come back? Because Mahomes could throw them out of trouble. The Titans, they rely on a 12-play drive, take time off the ball, and if you're down 21, there's no chance in hell of you coming back. You've got to make a play in the passing game if you're down. If you're down late, how did the Washington Commanders come back? They made plays in the passing game, not in the run game. Hey, the Eagles took the lead in the passing game, not the run game. You got to make plays in the passing game. Chip goes, Lamar throws darts. That's why he's got a 61 completion percentage. That sucks. I got the Cowboys at 6. Can I tell you what I think the difference with the Cowboys is today? What's the difference between the Cowboys? Not player-wise either. What's the difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles? Okay? What is it? What is it? Coaching? What's the difference between the Eagles and the Cowboys? No player, no front office, dying head coach. I like it. I'll help you out here. I think the Cowboys are a finesse team. I think the Eagles are a power team. Like San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going to beat them up this weekend. I think they're going to beat them to pieces. San Francisco is a physical football team. You can't name me a position on the Dallas Cowboys where they're more physical than San Francisco. Not one position. When I look at Michael Parsons is not a physical presence and not a he can run at him. Like, he doesn't strike fear in me like LT did. I don't think he is a physical dominating presence like a physical guy. I don't. I think he's a finesse guy. He's a pass rushing guy. He's not. I'll tell you this. Hassan Reddick has more physicality to him than what Michael Parsons does. They're just not a physical team. And I think that's a reflection of the head coach. They're just not physical. I don't remember, but if you said it, it's a great observation, because when you watch San Francisco and you watch Philly, don't you do this? Those teams are physical. And you know why they're 4-0? They may not have to play their best ball, but you know what they're going to do? You're going to be in a fist fight with them the whole 60 minutes. You are going to be in a fist fight. If you're with Dallas, you're in a pillow fight. And that's what Jonathan Gannon knew. Jonathan Gannon ran him over. Because you know what he did? Our guys are tougher than your guys. We're not better than you. We're tougher than you. You got more talent than us. You know, when you start looking at how they play, he's right. Gannon's right. The Cowboys are a finesse team. Look at what's this? Trent Williams and their left tackle. He may not even play. Trent's a more physical guy. Todd, what's his name? Tony Pollard. Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's more physical of a player. Runs in the middle, catches passes. He's more of a physical player. George Kittle versus their tight end, I can't even name him. Deebo Samuel versus CeeDee Lamb. I would never throw the word physical at CeeDee Lamb. Even the kid Ayuk. Take a look at their defense. That Vander Esch guy, you think he's Fred Warner? Nick Bosa? They don't have Hufanga. They don't have one guy on their football team that you can match up and go, well, that guy's tougher. That's kind of the same shit you got in Philly. They're just a finesse team. Finesse teams get their asses handed to them in playoffs. That's why I'm telling you, that's their, hey, I didn't really realize it. Smitty's more physical than CeeDee Lamb. He is. Absolutely. And that'd be not a word I would. He plays with a physical presence about him. You know, if you really think about it, I never thought about this until we just like ID'd it last night watching the Seahawks run over a team that Dallas was crowing about how they pounded them in the opener. I never realized that Cowboys won them Super Bowls with Jimmy because they were physical on defense and offense. And they ran you over. They were physical. When Jerry took the reins, they became a finesse team. And every time they get into the playoffs, they got their asses beat by physical football teams. That's why the Eagles don't get beat like that. Is because they may not have a good day. They will beat you up. Hey, just to put that even more into context, you may beat that Eagle team, but you're not going to win the fight. You may outscore them, but you're going to walk away going, damn, how come I'm hurting like this? That's a game where that's a low chin strap game. You know what that means? Keep that baby down, man. You get knocked on your ass in that game. Okay? The Cowboys are a finesse football team. That has been the problem with them since Jones has run the team and Jimmy's not been there. Look at their defenses. Defenses finesse. I got the Chiefs at 5. Andy Reid, Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce is keeping them in this thing. One injury to one of those guys, it is over. Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs could survive without Chris Jones? No way. Could they survive without Travis Kelce? No way. Travis Kelce keeps those other guys afloat because of his presence. He's almost now become a decoy for those other guys to be open. So if you lose the decoy and the athlete, those guys are people. I would. Kansas City is so beatable. Okay? They're hanging on by a shoestring where the Eagles are not. I think Kansas City is playing their best ball. Get this. The 2 Super Bowl teams, I think Kansas City's playing their best ball. I think the Eagles aren't. Would that be fair? Right? Would that be fair? Kansas City's playing, I think, as good as they can play. Pacheco is becoming a guy for them. All right? Right? So, you know what? I love when people go like this. So people are saying this to me now. What about the Detroit loss? Do you understand that shit's old news? Nobody cares about the first week right now. You're looking at the overall month of how you've played and where you're playing right now. Okay? Hey, Tone, I think our super chat's down here a little bit here. Because I see that it popped up, but I don't see your stuff there. So, yeah. I think Kansas City's good, but very beatable. Very beatable. But don't you think if we look like this now, what the finished product is? That's the big deal right now. Last year, you looked unbeatable in the first month. Now you look beatable. And every team that you've played has almost beaten you. So you look beatable. You're winning, though. Okay? You're winning. The 4-0 record is important, but it really is. The record doesn't dictate who's playing the best football right now. Just because you're 4-0 doesn't mean you're playing the best football. That's why I look at teams in a different light. I look at how you're playing, who you're playing. This is not college football. Undefeated teams don't get the top spot because you're undefeated. Okay? You just don't. Because the team that wins the Super Bowl, this is not the college Final Four. You have to play yourself into the Super Bowl, no matter what your record is. How many times have we seen wildcard teams make it to the Super Bowl? I mean, have some common sense about yourself. I got the Dolphins at 4. I think they've had a spectacular month. Okay? And they ran into the best team in the division in the AFC East. Now they know what they have to take to beat a team like that. You played somebody. That ain't the Broncos, the Bills. Okay? I got the Eagles 3. Not playing their best ball, but they're winning. They're winning. I don't think the offense is really doing anything great right now. And the numbers dictate that because we'll look at that here in a minute too. And the trends at where you are right now after a month of football. You see, when people go like this, stats don't matter. Team stats do because they're trends on what you're doing. Don't you understand that when game plans are put together, what do you think game plans are put together with? Gut feeling? Tendencies? Percentages of what you do in a particular play? Where do you think they get that from? There's a quality control coach that sits down with down and distance, and you know what he does? He'll cut up tape, 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 6, 4th and 4, 1st and 6. They'll go down that line. And what they'll do is they'll put all those reels together. Who do you have winning the NFC East? I had Dallas. And what they used to do was they used to have this cardboard thing back in the day with holes in it. And this is what you would have. You'd have these buckets underneath. And you'd have all these reels on this pin. 2nd and 8. What does the Washington Commanders do on 2nd and 8? You pull it out. All the tapes on 2nd and 8 go to the bucket. You take them to a projector back in the old days. And what you did was you watch 2nd and 8 and their tendencies. What plays they like to run out of it. Then you start charting it. Well, they like to go out of I formation 42% of the time. They've had great success here running the ball in split backs. Shotgun, they do a couple times, but that's all the low percentage plays. You don't prepare for every play that a guy throws at you because what you're watching is every game film. You're watching every play, and you're watching the percentage of plays that they enjoy. What do you think is on that guy's wristband? His favorite plays. That's why when the guy's on the sidelines, he'll go 48. He'll look down at 48, wide 7, 38 toss. Okay, 47. And then he'll tell him in the huddle. The wristband cuts down the time in the huddle because on the wristband of quarterbacks, those are favorite plays. Those are favorite plays versus cover 2 defense, banjo defense. They'll look at that and they'll go 46. Okay. Then he'll give out wide 7, ZY, curl in, block release, slide protection. Jason will come to the line, odd or even. If you have a head up nose, you have guys over the tackle, that's even defense. That thing is so complex, that offense. Okay? So that's kind of where you are here. I got the Bills too. Bills are playing spectacular football right now. Spectacular football. And I got the Niners 1. So I got the 49ers 1, Bills 2, Eagles 3, Dolphins 4, Chiefs 5, Cowboys 6, Ravens 7, Lions 8, Seahawks 9, and Buccaneers 10. That's who I have. By the way, we'll go through the numbers here and the tendencies of what's happened in the first month of the season to kind of quantify why San Francisco is probably the best team in National Football League along with the Bills right now. I'll get to your defense too also. We'll do top 10 defenses and why, quite frankly, you're unbalanced right now over the first month of the season. You're unbalanced. And your play has proven it out in the first month. You're still in the top 3. And quite frankly, that means 49ers and Eagles in the NFC title game. And it would be Dolphins and Bills right now in the AFC championship game. Got a problem with that? Why would you have a problem if you make it back to the NFC title? With another shot at the 49ers. I mean, I don't know how bad that would be. I mean, but we're not one. I love it, man. All right, my boy Tone's going to join us at 3:30. Don't forget Gary Cobb at 4:30. Our friends at Hooters, man. Look at Israel and Nick here who won our gift certificates this past week. Having those gift certificates out there, man, we really appreciate everybody coming aboard with us here. Love it so much here, man. By the way, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Hooters, and Hooters is without a doubt the official home of the National Football Show. We so appreciate those guys being part of the program here. Everybody was in the Northeast Hooters last night, man. All 7 locations. Go to northeasthooters.com. If you didn't go into them, too, hopefully you used the app and you went to hooterstogo.com. get some of that great food. The iconic Hooter girls go out, they give it to you, man. And great food. They deliver that food to you. Spectacular. If you go into the places, buy 10 wings, get 10 boneless free. Wing Wednesdays, 1983, all you can eat. It's a 40-year tradition. NortheastHooters.com. That's NortheastHooters.com. And when you roll into any one of the Hooters, do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.